Here we go. We are on section 3 and 4. So on section 3, we are starting out with a sketch. Okay, we're going to do one sketch and then we're going to use this other picture to help us. So sketch two different lines that intersect a plane at the same point. And so this is kind of a tricky drawing for some of us right off the bat. It's the first time that we're really drawing a line that intersects a plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a plane kind of using that parallelogram. That's our plane. And we want the line to intersect it at a point. Now what we don't want to do is we do not want to draw our line completely in the plane. That would be all the points are touching. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to draw part of the line up here above the plane. So this part we can see is up above the plane and it's going to stop right in the middle there, and that's going to be the point where it meets. Now when we draw a line that's going to go through the plane, we're going to use a dashed line for the portion of the line that's underneath or invisible behind the plane. And this says two different lines and same point. So now I need to repeat that process and start here. Right? Here's another line that's passing through. And try and make those lines straight. Dr. Marshall's not doing a good job there. These should be straight lines. So there we have a good sketch for two different lines that intersect a plane at the same point. There's our point where they intersect. All right, let's look at the picture on the right. Name the intersection, so what point is shared between line PQ here and line K, which is here. Where do they meet? You can see it right here, point M. And we can just write M in geometry, telling us that's a point. All right, name the intersection of plane A. Okay, now we're talking about plane A. So we've got all this flat surface, and plane B, which is all this. Okay. Well, when two lines meet, you get a point, but when two planes meet, it's very much like that cube that we had earlier. If I think about this side and this side meeting, where do they meet? Well, they meet right along this edge, okay? And so when you're talking about where two lines meet, what you're really talking about is, or excuse me, where two planes meet, you're really talking about a line. So notice that out of those two planes, they meet right along there. So that would be line K. Then last of all, name the intersection of line K and plane A. Line K and plane A. So notice that when we look at line K, its points are all inside of plane A. So this is going to be the exact same thing. The entire line is intersecting with plane A. All right, I'm going to pause my recording here, and I want you guys, so make sure you come up, hit pause on the video, because in a couple of seconds it's just going to keep playing on to the next one. All right, and let's finish up. We're at the end of the day. Hopefully we're going to have enough time. Okay, so we want plane P and line N intersecting at point K, very much like the picture that we just drew, except we're going to have names for each of these objects. So we're going to draw a plane, and that's supposed to be plane P. So in one corner, I'm going to put a P for the plane. Then I want line N that's going to intersect it. So this is what we talked about. If it's going to intersect the plane or meet the plane, it needs to start inside there and go out, and then have the rest of the line should extend outside of there. So that's line N. We're going to put an N next to that. And then it intersects it at point K. So that point where it changes, that's going to be capital K right there. All right, planes A, B, and C intersecting at point X. So when you have multiple planes intersecting, a good starting point is to think about drawing a box. And if we need practice drawing a box, just draw a square. And then that top edge is going to be like the bottom edge of a parallelogram. Okay, that's the top of the plane. So there's planes A and B. Here's A, there's B. Then I want to draw a third plane. So I'm going to go straight down from the corner of the parallelogram and form a second parallelogram on the right side. And that's going to be plane C. Now, where do those planes meet? We can see it right here. And that needs to be point X. So we're just going to label that point X. Now, there's other drawings that we could draw. This is just an example of those three planes meeting. We have them labeled with A, B, and C. All right. So let's look at this third and fourth one. Points R, S, T, and U lie in plane Z. So all of them are inside that plane. So I'm going to have to go ahead and set up a plane so I can put some points inside there. Points S, T, and U are collinear. All right, S, T, and U are collinear. So I could go ahead and actually put a line inside of there and say that S, T, and U are going to be on that line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here's S, there's T, there's U. Line J intersects the plane Z. So we'll call this plane Z. We'll put the Z down here. Only at point R. Okay, so let's go back and think. We've got, notice, we've got S, T, and U are collinear. S, T, and U. But we're missing point R, which has to be in plane Z. So if it's not collinear, it's got to be somewhere else. So I'm going to put point R out here. So far, now we've got everything up until it says line J. It intersects the plane Z at only point R. So that's easy. I start at R. Excuse me. That should be have an arrow on the end. So try it again. So this is going to be line J. And the last missing part would be if I can draw straight segments. The rest of the line passing through there. That brings us to our very last picture. Lines A, B, and CD do not intersect. All right, that should be an easy picture. There's a couple different ways to draw it, but probably the easiest or the simplest would be to take parallel lines, right? And we need to name them. So this one goes from a point A through a point B. This one goes through point C and point D. They're parallel. We could also draw skew lines, which we haven't talked about that term, but lines that are in different planes and don't intersect. So this could also be drawn with the box, excuse me, where you might have point A and B here, and we can see the line that goes through those, and maybe this back edge over here could be C and D. Those lines aren't parallel, but they still don't intersect. All right, so that's it for today. You guys, I'm sure, did a great job, and you can go ahead and if you have extra time, you can go ahead and get started on the homework.